There's a lot of cool Greek myths, but also a lot of weird ones that we still don't know what was the point of the premise. Hi, my name is Jessa. Please join me as we look together top 10 bizarre Greek mythology stories we still can't explain. Oh, and before we begin, in the last video I was in, top 10 amazing women who changed history, I gave you guys a riddle. Did you get it? The riddle was, what is it that no one wants to have but no one wants to lose either? The answer is, drumroll please, a lawsuit. Your next riddle will be at the end of this video. Anyways, let's get started. Number 10, Leda. We know that Zeus transforms whatever he wants to get whatever he wants because he can. And being the god of all gods, he is known for also being a bit of a rascal, and by that I mean he sleeps with everyone, and well, anyone. Gods, demigods, animals, mortals, and sometimes with mortals as animals. In this story, Zeus sees Leda and falls in love with her, and so he's like, you know what? I'm gonna transform into a swan and be with her. And he did. He turned into a swan, and the night Leda lays with her husband. Afterwards, she lays with a swan. Somehow she sleeps with a swan and out comes two eggs, or well, two sets of twins. The first set was Helen and Clytemnestra, and the second set was Castor and Pollux. All myths seem to agree that Pollux was immortal and Helen was Zeus's daughter. Is there a point to this conception? Well, aside the legends of Pollux and Helen, who we know is the Helen of Troy, I don't know. What's more interesting is that he had to be a swan to do it, or she laid eggs, or maybe she didn't, maybe she just had quadruplets. Number 9, Ixion. In this Greek mythology, we see a lot of conception going on, as it is essential to know who your daddy is. Ixion, he wanted to be the father of many, and so the story goes that Ixion was in exile for punishing his supposed father-in-law for stealing his horses. He punished his father-in-law by burning coals on him and violating the guest host rule as well as kinslaying. So by his actions, he was banished from the city, and when Zeus took pity on him, he invited him to come to Olympus as a guest. Of course, this was probably not a smart move on Zeus's part. Once there, Ixion saw Hera and was completely obsessed with her, so Zeus tested his loyalty by creating a cloud version of Hera, which somehow Ixion impregnated. And Zeus was pissed off. He became angry and punished Ixion by informing Hermes to bind him to an ever-spinning, gigantic flaming wheel for all eternity. And the impregnated cloud gave birth to half horses and half man known as centaurs. Number 8, Lycurgus of Thrace. If you got more than one sibling, sometimes your mom would call you by the wrong name and call you by your sibling's name instead. If that hasn't happened to you, it's okay, not everyone can live the same experiences. Especially the son of Lycurgus of Thrace, who attacked everyone's favorite fabulous party god, Dionysus, while he was traveling trying to teach everyone how to make wine. The gods punished Lycurgus with madness, and in the heat of his madness rampage, he saw his son and thought he was a plant. So he said, oh, this vine needs to be clipped, and he wielded his axe and killed his own son as well as the rest of his family. After that, there were many myths saying that he used the same axe to cut off his own legs, because why not? In some way, I guess this was a story warning mortals to not mess with the party god. Number 7, Sciron. It wasn't just the gods who were cruel at random, but of course a lot of humans were just as susceptible, as well as psychopaths. Once there was a man named Sciron who loved to rob people, and his method would just call travelers on the road and ask them to help wash his feet. They would offer to help, and then he would kick them off the face of a cliff, 300 style. And if it wasn't any worse, a giant turtle would be at the bottom of the cliff and eat the remains of the still living, if the fall didn't kill them. And he did this over and over and over again, killing many people. The hero Theseus was really tired of his shenanigans, and so he confronted Sciron, and by karma he also threw him off the cliff, which many would say is a fitting end. Number 6, Athena punishes Arachne. Arachne was a wonderful and very talented seamstress, and she would sometimes boast that she was better than other people, and more importantly, better than the goddess Athena. Eventually this got to Athena's ear and cautioned her to be quiet of this false rumor, and when she didn't listen, Athena then challenged her and gave her one chance to prove herself in a weaving contest. Which is great because it shows that she wants to give her a chance, but when Athena saw how beautiful the tapestry Arachne made, she exploded in a fit of rage and jealousy and cursed the girl to feel guilty for what she had done. Arachne felt so much guilt that she eventually did take her own life, but Athena wasn't done with her yet. She took Arachne and transformed her into a spider so she would weave for all eternity, which we all know now in a scientific term for spiders is Arachne. Number 5, Apollophin. For once, or at least once in a while, we see gods not behaving badly as much as we are told in stories they do. Apollo grew up in adulthood within 4 days, of course, because that's normal, on a small island and wasn't able to leave, and he decided out of all sea creatures to transform himself into a dolphin. This somehow turned into a sea into raging storms because apparently turning into a dolphin makes the sea mad. He spotted a ship in distress and he decided to save it, and he leapt up on the deck, still in dolphin form, and guided the ship to a safe place on the shore. From there he set out to do what gods do, and in honor of his method of escape, Apollo named the city Delphi after his dolphin form. Number 4, the 12 laborers. The laborers of Hercules, also known as the 12 laborers, are amongst the most famous stories in Greek mythology. Hercules was given a series of tasks that seemed impossible to complete. However, through a combination of strength, wit, and assistance from the gods, Hercules was able to overcome these these challenges and achieve redemption. The task ranged from slaying fearsome beasts like the Nemean lion and the nine-headed hydra, to capturing mythical creatures like the golden hind of Artemis and the Erymanthian boar. Each of these tasks were fraught with danger and required not only immense physical strength but also cleverness and bravery. In each case, Hercules was able to overcome the odds and complete his task by proving his heroism and earning his redemption. Number 3. Prometheus. Prometheus was a unique figure among the Titans. He was known for his wisdom and foresight, and he had a particular fondness for humanity, which set him apart from most of the other gods and Titans. This fondness led him to commit one of the most audacious acts in all of mythology. He stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity. Fire in this context was more than just a practical tool. It represented knowledge, progress, and civilization. By giving fire to humans, Prometheus not only provided them with the means of survival, but also set them a path towards progress and enlightenment. But this angered Zeus, as he was enraged by Prometheus's audacity and the potential threat that enlightened humanity could pose to the gods. Prometheus was then chained to a rock in the Caucasus Mountains, and every day an eagle would swoop down and eat his liver. Each night his liver would regenerate and only be eaten again the next day. The cycle of torment was to be Prometheus' fate for eternity. If you watched the movie Moana, that's actually kind of how Maui came to be. It was that he was an eagle and also he gave and stole the heart of Te Fiti to the people, and that's basically where the story came from. Number 2. Oedipus. Some may or may not know this story, so let's just get into it. Oedipus was the son of Lais, the king of Thebes, and his wife Jocasta, and before his birth, an oracle prophesied that Oedipus would kill his father and marry his mother. Horrified by this prophecy, Lais and Jocasta decided to kill their newborn son, and they ordered a servant to leave their baby on a mountainside to die. However, the servant took pity on the infant and gave him to a shepherd from the neighboring city of Corinth. The shepherd in turn gave the baby to the childless king and queen of Corinth, who raised them as their own. Unaware of who his real parents were, Oedipus decided to visit an oracle and heard the same prophecy his birth parents heard. Believing it was his adopted parents were his biological parents, he left to avoid the prophecy. But unfortunately, when he left, he encountered his real dad and killed him, unknowingly fulfilling the first half of the prophecy. He then arrived in Thebes, where he was able to defeat a sphinx, and as his reward, he became king and married the widow of that kingdom, in other words, his mom, fulfilling the rest of the prophecy. Number 1. Pygmalion. He was just really into mannequins, or in this case, statues. Pygmalion was a super talented sculptor from the island of Cyprus, and he saw how all the women around him had flaws. So he felt he wanted to make the perfect woman, so he made her from ivory, and with such skill, she almost seemed pretty much alive. And he named her Galatea, and just like that, he fell in love with his statue. He gave her everything: jewels, diamonds, silks to wear, but of course she was just a statue and could not give the love back to Pygmalion. So during the festival of Aphrodite, the goddess of love, he begged and prayed to have his wife just like the statue he made. Moved by his love and desire, she granted his wish, and just like the blue fairy from Pinocchio, she turned the statue into a real woman, and Galatea married Pygmalion, and they lived happily ever after. So, who was your favorite on the list, and did you learn anything interesting today? Please let me know. Oh yeah, your next riddle. Are you ready? What has 88 keys? Be sure to put your answer in the comment below, and I'll reveal the answer in the next video: top 10 mad monarchs who sat on the British throne. That's all for today. Thank you for joining me. My name is Jessa. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see your beautiful faces in the next one. Bye!